There's a strange emotion that appears when nothing is wrong. You've finished your tasks. You're not late. No one is asking for anything. And yet, when you rest, something feels off. Not relief. Guilt. As if rest needs permission. As if stillness requires justification. This guilt isn't accidental. It's learned. Not taught directly. Absorbed. Somewhere along the way, rest stopped being neutral. It became suspicious. You're not resting because you're tired. You're resting instead of something else. Instead of working, improving, progressing. Rest is no longer the absence of work. It's framed as avoidance. This is the logic of total work. In T-Slow Geek, every moment must be useful. If time isn't producing something measurable, it's being wasted. Not enjoyed, wasted. So even rest must perform. It has to recharge you, optimize you, prepare you to work better later. Rest is allowed only as a tool for productivity. That's why unstructured rest feels uncomfortable. Scrolling feels acceptable because it looks busy. Thinking feels acceptable because it feels productive. But doing nothing feels wrong, because nothing is being generated. In the logic of total work, your value is tied to output, not who you are, not how you experience life, what you produce. So when you stop producing, your value feels temporarily suspended. That's where the guilt comes from, not laziness, not weakness. A quiet question underneath everything. What am I worth if I am not doing something? This logic didn't come from nowhere. Work used to be a necessity, then it became a virtue. Now it's an identity. You don't just work, you are productive. And identities, don't they like pauses? Pauses feel like cracks. This is why rest feels earned, not inherent. You don't rest because you're a human. You rest because you've done enough to deserve it, but enough is never clearly defined. There's always more to do. Someone doing more. Someone ahead. So rest becomes fragile. Easily interrupted by guilt, by checking messages, by half-working even while resting. The body may stop, but the mind stays on duty. And here is the paradox. A system that demands constant productivity creates people who are never fully present. When working, they feel behind. When resting, they feel irresponsible, so they exist in between. Not working deeply, not resting honestly, just maintaining motion. This is why burnout doesn't always come from overwork. It comes from never being off. Rest, real rest, requires something uncomfortable. Accepting that your worth doesn't disappear when you stop. And that's difficult in a culture that treats life like a project. Projects have deadlines, metrics, outcomes, but life doesn't. The logic of total work tries to force one anyway. It turns existence into a task list and rest into a failure to optimize time. That's why guilt appears most strongly when rest has no visible reason. No sickness, no exhaustion, no reward. Just rest for its own sake. That kind of rest exposes the illusion. It asks a dangerous question. If I don't need to justify this moment, what have I been justifying all along? So the mind interrupts it with guilt, with urgency, with a feeling that you should be doing more. Not because something is wrong, but because stillness breaks the spell. The logic of total work survives on momentum. Rest interrupts momentum. An interruption feels like loss of control. This doesn't mean work is bad or effort is wrong. It means when work becomes total, everything else becomes suspect, including rest, including joy, including simply being alive without producing evidence. The guilt you feel when you rest is not a personal flaw. It's a signal. Not that you're really lazy, but that you via internalized a system that doesn't know when to stop. And systems that don't allow rest don't create fulfillment. They create the quiet resistance isn't quitting work. It's allowing moments that don't justify themselves, moments that don't lead anywhere. Don't improve anything. Don't prove your value. Because the moment rest stops needing a reason, life stops feeling like something you're constantly behind on.